Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Little, and I want to talk to you about taking renters and making them buyers, or using this as an opportunity to generate leads. So we're targeting renters to buyers. All right. So I'm going to give you some of my quick tips when I train the agents in the office. So maybe it will help you help yourselves always have a lead. So here we go. Now, here's kind of the process. And when I say kind of, I could go, I could make this class 2 hours. But my goal is to help you learn to earn and kind of get started in the areas you work in. So number one, I want to ask you the question: how many days does a tenant need to provide to a landlord not to extend their lease? Number two, we're going to use our MLS to find tenants to convert to buyers, or market to them. And number three, we're going to take this list and mail consistently. You can add a landing page. You could, host a home buyer seminar. You could do a virtual workshop. The sky's the limit. This could be your opportunity to generate a lead. You could even invite them to an open house. So let me ask the question: when must a tenant give notice for an annual lease? That's right, 60 days notice. So 60 days. So if today is, let's say today's December 6th, 2022, and someone rented out a property last year, December 6th, 2021. That means they had to give 60 days notice to stay, or go, right? 60 days prior to December 6th. So somewhere in, the beginning of October, they gave notice. So the next thing we want to do is we want to start with our MLS to find people that they didn't rent December 6th, because what do we know? December 6th, they gave notice in October of 2022, because they rented in December of 2021. So anyone that rented out a property January 6th of 2022 gave notice in November, right? Anyone that rented out a property in February or February 6th of 2022 gave notice probably today, right? So we don't even want to deal with December, February, right? All of December, all of February. And we want to just hop over to March, because we know we still have time to reach the people that haven't made a decision. So what might that look like? So here we go. So I have a list. So if today is December 6th, 2022, that means we're going to start with we're going to go to our MLSs, and we're going to, first of all, depending on your MLS, for my MLS, it's rented. In the Florida MLS, because I'm licensed in Florida and in Illinois, I'm the designated managing broker in both states. In Illinois, it's rented. In Florida, it's leased. So I can go to either of my MLSs, and I would put in the beginning date. So you have to figure this out. Go take the MLSs in your market. So my beginning date would be March 6, 2022. The end date would be December 6, 2022. So now next month is here. It's now January 6th. We're in a new year. So that date range would be April 2022 through January 2023. Now we've made it through January. It's cold in Illinois. And now it's February. So we would start with February 6, 2023. Now, this is a perfect scenario of every 6th of the month, you're going to work on this list. This is the perfect scenario. So if you took this list and did this or worked this type of a list every month for the duration of your real estate career, you should be generating leads. You should. Now, conversion, we can have another class. So again, by the time we get to March, that beginning date would be June. The end date would be March. Notice these dates are the same as here. So then when you get to April, you would start with July 2022. Now, if I could predict the future, I would have predicted that already. So you always have to start with the previous year. So then you'd have May, you'd start with August 2022 through May of 2023. Then you'd have June 2023. And so that's the day you're working, but the date range is September 6, 2022 through June. And then you'd have October through July, November through August, and just remember the end dates. Like if you just pause this right here and figured out how to do this in your MLS, you would be doing more work than most agents. Because especially new agents, we just wait for the business. I'm telling you how to do this. Okay. So then this is what I want you to remember. This first row, the first row, this gives you 30 days for your first mailing or a date range. So what do I mean? I mean, the first time you mail this group, anyone between March and April is going to get one mailer. Because then when you roll up a month, anyone that you mail to between April 6th and January 6th of 2023 will get 2 touches. Then when you roll up a month, so now it's February and you're using this date range, 3 mailers. Then you'd go to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, if you did this forever, eventually this date range, this group, anyone that didn't start their lease until July of 2023, by the time you mail, these people would have had 8 mailers from you, right? So here's the cool thing is we know, and you can Google it, marketing, everyone has a different range, but it takes about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, between 5 and 7 months with direct mail for someone to decide to use you. Social media might be a little bit different if you post a lot. So, or you're consistent and people are watching, or they feel like they know you, right? So if you did this and by the 5th mailer or the 7th mailer, someone should have reached out. If no one is reaching out, I need to see your marketing because you're not doing something to get the hook. Like, for example, warning, renting is hazardous to your wealth. Did you know every time you pay rent, you're paying someone else's mortgage? Would you like to pay someone's mortgage for 30 years? Guess what? They own the house and you don't. Like sometimes it's in the hook. And most of your brokerages have marketing materials. If not, there are other companies you can Google and find. So take advantage of what's available at your brokerages or leverage GOOGLE. So there's really no excuse. If I could convince you to do this, like I almost want to show you a marketing piece. Like I have a marketing piece that says it's a flyer, old school flyer, warning, renting is hazardous to your wealth. And then it shows you if you rented a home for $1,000 a month for 10 years, assuming the rent didn't go up, because what do we know about rentals? The rents typically go up every year, right? So if you rented a property at, let's do the math. Let's just open up the calculator, right? So $1,000 a month times 12 is $12,000. And then 12 times 5 years is $60,000. So if you double that, what does this mean? This means that someone would have spent $120,000 on someone else's future. But let's just make it really relevant because you could dig a little bit deeper in your MLSs. And if you had $2,500 times 12, that's $30,000 in a year. Then if you took that times 5, someone is paying $150,000 towards rent. Now we know that some of that money might go to the mortgage, but remember, it's not your mortgage. So, I mean, if you did that, that's 300,000 in 10 years. So here's the question is, do you want to invest and build wealth for someone else or yourself? So I say, why wouldn't we do this? So here's the truth. Commitment and consistency is really what works. If I could convince every real estate agent to just start with this, just one thing, you'll generate leads. It's up to you to convert. So thanks for watching me. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. And if you ever have questions, type them in the YouTube feed.